So for those of you that are swapping a 12 valve Cummins into something else and are wanting to install a tachometer, if you have the crank position sensor installed, here is a really easy way to get it set up. Now, I did take really all of these ideas from another video that I will link in the comments as well to give that guy credit. But here I thought I'd show in detail what the pinouts need to be. I've got a 92 engine in this, so it'll probably work. I don't know what the different years are, but definitely 93 it'll work for as well. But anyway, here's what I did. So I have this tach that I purchased off of Amazon. I'll put a link to it in case anybody's interested in it. I thought it looked kind of nice and old school, and only went up to 4,000 RPM. And then I messed around with the wiring. So I wired it into the connector that comes off the crank position sensor. And the way I wired it up, and this should work for any of these aftermarket tachs that are adjustable. But here's that sensor, and you can tell the orientation because it's got that flat piece on the plastic there. But the top left, that goes to the tach input. The one in the middle here, that goes to 12 volts. And what you have to do is you have to put a 1K ohm resistor between the two, and I'll show you how I did it. Again, I took it from this other guy's advice on his video, but it worked out really well. So 1K ohm resistor, and then this one goes to ground. So that's what these connectors in here go to. Obviously, that's just temporary wiring. Actually, all of this is while I'm just setting this up. And then I had one of these inline fuse holders. Obviously the wires are way too thick for what I'm doing here, but it worked out nice. And then if I open it up, I just, I've got a bunch of resistors, so I actually pulled a 1000 ohm resistor and stuck it in there. And yeah, let me fire it up and I'll show you how it works. Yeah, one thing that I thought I'd show before I fire it up here is, if you look, it's not focusing on the crank pulley there, but there you can see a reflective piece of tape on the crank pulley. And I just got this really inexpensive tachometer or laser tachometer off of eBay, just so that I could set this up and make sure that it was working, and it worked very nicely. All right, so here's the crankshaft position sensor out of the truck. This is the piece that goes on the harmonic balancer, the crankshaft pulley, and reads as the two notches go by. And this is the other end. I don't have the other side of this connector, so I'm gonna cut this off, put another connector on it, so that it can be a nice installation. There's no easy way to take this connector apart though, so I'm gonna have to figure out which wire each of these points goes to. On here there are 3 wires. The middle one has a white stripe on it, and then the outer two are just black. So I just took my yellow paint marker and marked one of them. So now I've got yellow, white, and black, and I'm gonna cut it, check continuity so that I can figure out which wire goes where. So I'm going to put one of these waterproof connectors in place of the one that was on there before. I cut that one off. I've marked the wires. And I've got a drawing here so that I know what's what. I put a yellow mark on one side of it. So I'm going to put the yellow 12-volt wire in here. In the center, I've marked that I'm going to put the white marked wire. And on this side here, on the right side, I'm going to put the black wire, which is the Tach input. So 12-volt ground Tach input. All right, looks like I got it. So it's nicely, I guess it's somewhat waterproof on this side, so it'll keep all the grime out. And then I will put this connector on the other end that will go in here like, oh, that's the wrong one, that's 4. This is the one that's 3, so it'll go in like this and secure, and then we'll have the wires coming out. So now I'm just going to reinstall it. The service manual says when it's reinstalled that there needs to be a gap between the speed sensor and the harmonic balancer of between 1.25 and 1.30 millimeters. They suggest using a feeler gauge, but they say brass feeler gauge or something non-magnetic. So I don't have a brass feeler gauge, but I do have this plastic set that I got for something some time back. Anyway, these two together are 1.27 millimeters right here. So I am just going to set this on top of I'm going to bolt this in lightly, set this on top of the harmonic balancer, push it down, tighten it up, pull these out, and I should have the right amount of spacing, and we should be good to go.